You're listening to the Main Street Deal, part of Main Street Media. I'm Jordan. It's Monday, July 6, 2026. Today, we're walking through one real listing on the market right now. The business is a landscaping and snow removal company in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Lawn maintenance and property cleanups in the warm months, plowing and salting through the winter. It's the kind of route-based seasonal service business that a lot of first-time buyers look at because the work is understandable and the barrier to entry feels low. This is a current biz-buy-sell listing, so every number I'm about to give you is the seller's number, not an audited figure. Keep that in mind, because on a business this size, the difference between the seller's math and the real math is the whole game. Here's the shape of it. Gross revenue is listed at about $240,000 a year. Seller's discretionary earnings, the cash an owner-operator could expect to take home after the business pays its bills, is listed at $75,000, and the asking price is $199,999. Call it $200,000. The listing doesn't spell out how many years the company has been operating or how many people are on the crew, and I'll come back to why those two blanks matter more than almost anything else here. Let's start with the multiple. $200,000 asking $75,000 of SDE. That's a multiple of about 2.7 times earnings. For a small landscaping business, that's right in the normal range. These route-based service businesses usually change hands somewhere between 2 and 3.5 times SDE, so nobody's getting robbed on the sticker price. But the multiple is the least interesting number in this listing, and I want to show you why. Here's the financing math run the standard way. On an SBA 7A acquisition loan, you're putting 10% down. 10% of $200,000 is $20,000 out of your pocket at close. You finance the other $180,000 at 9.3% over 10 years. That loan costs you about $2,310 a month. Annualize it, and you're paying roughly $27,700 a year just to service the debt. Now, watch what that does to the earnings. The business throws off $75,000 in SDE. Subtract the $27,700 in debt service, and you're left with about $47,000. That $47,000 is what you actually live on, and it's what you actually run the company on. And that's the number that should stop you, because $47,000 a year is not an owner's return on a business. On a business this small, that's a wage. You are very likely buying yourself a job, and a job where you also carry the loan. So the diligence here comes down to 3 questions, and they're specific to this business. First, what is that revenue actually made of? $240,000 split between mowing and snow is not one number, it's 2 very different numbers. Recurring maintenance contracts you can count on. Snow revenue you cannot, because a mild winter can erase a third of your year and you have no control over the weather. Before anything else, you need the split between contracted, recurring maintenance, and seasonal or one-off work. The more of that top line that depends on snowfall, the riskier the whole thing gets. Second, who does the work? With only $75,000 of SDE, there's a real chance the owner is on the mower and behind the plow personally. If that's true, then that $75,000 isn't profit. It's the owner's labor, and when the owner leaves, so does it. You need to know exactly how many employees there are, whether they're documented and legal, what they're paid, and whether they'll stay through a sale. Third, the equipment, mowers, trucks, plows, spreaders. on a business at this price. The equipment is most of what you're buying. You need the age and condition of every major piece, whether it's owned free and clear and included in the sale, and what is going to cost you to replace the first thing that dies. Deferred maintenance on a fleet of trucks can wipe out a year of that $47,000 in a single repair. So here's the verdict. For most buyers, this one's a pass. Not because the price is wrong, the multiple is fair. It's a pass because after debt service, you're looking at roughly $47,000 in a business whose revenue partly depends on the weather and whose earnings may walk out the door with the current owner. The single biggest reason: the post-debt cash flow is too thin to absorb a bad winter or a lost crew. And the one question to ask the broker before anything else: what portion of that $240,000 is contracted, recurring maintenance revenue? And does the current owner personally perform route work? If most of the revenue is under contract and there's a real crew that stays, this could be worth a second look. If it's snow dependent and owner operated, you have your answer. That's it for Monday. Find all of Main Street Media's shows wherever you listen. Subscribe, leave a review, and I'll see you Thursday for an operator story.